Hey guys, Daniela here. I haven't made a video on my personal channel in about 2 weeks, so I decided I'd go ahead and make one. Some of you might know this, um, but I've kind of been interested in running, like have wanted to get into running when I was in high school and we would do the mile in PE class. Like, I actually enjoyed it when we would go out to the track. But I never really ran. I did play basketball, and that's kind of where I got my running in, but I never ran just to run. And then once I kind of moved out of my parents' house, the last couple years living back in Sanford, I did try running a couple times around my neighborhood, and that just never really took. And even back in the spring, I tried running a little bit more, but I usually would just end up running down the path and then walking the rest of the way home. But now I've recently moved back to my hometown, and the apartments where I live, they're actually right next to Apex Community Park, which has this really pretty lake and has a path that goes 2 miles around. So actually, I like even just walking there. My boyfriend and I will go for walks there around the loop. And so it's actually a really nice place to go walking because it's nice and safe. There's no traffic. And okay, at night it can get pretty dark, but there's still ample lighting, and I usually don't go when it's really dark. So I guess one day I just decided to go running just to see what I could do, and I knew there was no way I was going to be able to run all the way around the 2 mile loop. But I just, my neighborhood has an entrance directly out onto the paths, it has two entrances, so I ran from my little entrance down to the other one, and then I walked back because I got tired. And then a couple days later, I ran a quarter of a mile, and I think I walked and then I ran another quarter mile. So I was like, all right, I ran a total of a half mile. I'm proud of myself. And then I kind of built it up from there. So I would take breaks in between, but I got it where I was able to run a quarter mile, walk a quarter mile, run a quarter mile, walk a quarter mile. So in total, I ran a mile. And one day my boyfriend came and ran with me. And as I was getting to that first quarter mile, I thought, you know what, I can keep going. So I pushed myself and I ran a half mile, which is the farthest I had to run all at once. And then I walked, and then I ran another half mile. And then towards the end, as we were getting back to my apartment, he was like, "Do you want to try running again?" So I was like, "Okay, I might run this last quarter mile and walk up the hill." But as we got to the end of the quarter mile and we got to the hill, he was like, "You can do it." So I pushed myself and I ran up the hill. And so I would make an effort to kind of run on a regular basis. I try not to go every day because I am still starting out and I don't want to like tire myself out. But for the most part, when I would run, I would do half a mile, walk for a quarter mile, run half a mile, walk a quarter mile, and then run the rest of the way home, which was pretty good. And then earlier this week on Monday, I thought, you know what? Doing my quarter mile, I'm doing pretty good. And I made it to half mile, and I thought, I wonder if I can keep going. Let's see if I can run a mile. So I kept running. I actually ran into my boyfriend's mom, so I stopped and talked to her. But I ran the rest of the mile, and I ended up running a mile and a quarter without stopping. And I was really proud of myself. And I even ran the last little bit at the end of that. So 2 days later, I decided to try and run again, but this time I would time myself. So I timed myself. I got really tired at the end of the mile, so I walked the rest of the way, but I ran in 11 minutes and 50 seconds, although there's a little bit of sidewalk. So the way I go, I walk to basically the parking lot of the park, and that's one end of the path. And then the other end of the path is at the other side of the parking lot because it loops the other way. So I do have to walk across the sidewalk that's several feet long. So that adds to my mile. So today I decided to go running from the other side of the parking lot so I wouldn't have to account for that extra distance that I didn't know how far it was. And I was able to run a mile in 11 minutes and 10 seconds. And it's kind of cool. I don't ever foresee myself running a marathon, maybe a 5K, but I have to build to that. But it's just kind of cool being able to run and knowing that I can push myself a little bit and feeling like I'm doing something that I had wanted to do and now I'm actually accomplishing that. And there's actually a 1 mile race in September in Raleigh that my boyfriend told me about, and we're gonna run in it. And I've never run in a race like that before, so obviously I have no intention of winning. Then again, when I do any sort of competitive thing, I don't really expect to win anyway. But I'd like to see how I do, and maybe I'll do better than my 11 minutes and 12 seconds that I did today. So I just want to share that little accomplishment of mine, and I hope you all are doing well. Yeah, I'll see you later. Bye.